Hi, my name is Kevin Hammer, and today I'm going to show you the process that I used for a project in my home to update my kitchen cabinets, going from an older golden oak style to a darker, more modern, refreshed, updated look. So I used a kit that I purchased from Home Depot. You can get them at Lowe's or wherever, from Rustoleum, called Kitchen Cabinet Transformations. I don't work for Rustoleum. I'm just a typical homeowner. In my case, my cabinets were not quality enough to actually sand down and restain like I've done to my own other kitchens in the past. But so I had to actually paint mine. So I saw this kit and I went for it, and it turned out pretty good. I'll show you how it works. I used a product from Rustoleum called Cabinet Transformations, and the box covers, it says about 100 square feet, which once you get started on your project, who knows how much 100 square feet is that it covers. But in my case, I'll show you later, but I used about 1.5 of these boxes for my entire kitchen. So a box is about 75 bucks. It comes with a deglosser, which is a cleaner I'll show you how to use. It comes with 2 cans of base coat, which you have to have mixed at the store. So in my case, I chose espresso, but you've got to mix it at the store before you leave. It also has 2 cans of glaze and 1 can of top coat. And inside the box too, it's got some gauze to use for the glaze and some paint stirring sticks and some other junk. So anyway, so this is actually the last cabinet door I have in the kitchen to do. Everything else is already completed, but you can see how this is just a standard cheap builder grade golden oak style cabinet. And I will show you how to turn that into that. So let's get started. So what I've done here is I've put my cabinet door, my last remaining cabinet door for my project, on a little workspace I created in the kitchen. I had it set up in the garage, but I'm in Texas and it's really hot out there and we've got a lot of mosquitoes this time of year, so I quickly determined that I needed to move this indoors. My wife, fortunately, has been very patient with me for the last couple of weeks while this has been in here. So the first step is to use the deglosser, which is in the kit. But actually, you know what? Before that, we need to take the hinges off of the cabinet door. I apologize for the bad lighting. I know this is probably not the best quality video, but it's the best I can do. In there. What I've also done on each of the doors is, while they were still on, attached to the cabinets, I labeled them from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on which door I was working on. So that way I know which door to put back in its original place, because they do tend to bend and warp over the years. My house is about 13 years old, and they do kind of mold to fit the cabinet door. So I put a number 5 in this case on my corner, but once I paint this, I'm not going to be able to see that number 5 anymore. So what I do is I get my Sharpie and I also number inside the hinge to where it won't be painted, and I'll see that number 5 there, and I'll know that's the spot it needs to go into. So once the hinges are off, and please take the hinges off. Don't be lazy with this type of work. It's your kitchen. You should spend time to making it look right. So don't get lazy and leave the hinges on and try to do this with the hinges on. So make sure everything's off. So the first step is the deglosser. In the kit, it comes with these green scouring pads. I've been cutting them in half. I don't know why, I just think they're too big the other way. So I cut them in half and use them that way. What you do is you just squirt this on. What I found with going through 2 of these kits is they give you plenty of this, so don't feel like you need to ration this stuff. You can use the heck out of it, and you'll have plenty left. So what you do is you just squirt that on there, and then you just start cleaning, basically scouring the cabinet door. And whoops, I've still got my old little rubber knobs, my little bumper guards, and I'm going to pick off the corners here. And then what this stuff is it's not a stripper. You won't strip the varnish off or any of the old stain. Basically, it's just a cleaner. And when you get done, you can't really tell that you did it, other than the fact that the wood is just a little bit lighter in some spots. But it basically just provides a good, I guess, contact for the base coat or the bond coat that we're going to put on next. So just scrub really hard. And in my case, my cabinet doors, I didn't have any hardware, any handles, so kids and parents and stuff would grab the edge of the door. So make sure you get the corners really good, because all of the grease and dirt from your hands is built up over the years, and you want the bond coat to stick really well. Okay, so I've let this dry for an hour and a half or so. I've already wiped off this side and the other side, and I just got kind of a damp towel, and I just kind of wiped off all of the excess stuff that dried. And what you'll see is, it's like I said, it's not a stripper or a varnish remover. It's just a water-based cleaner. So don't expect the old varnish to come off. It's just basically a degreaser and a deglosser. So anyway, we're ready to go to the next step, which is a bond coat. And I've already shaken this up a little bit. Let me fix the camera. I've already shaken this up. I'll do a little bit more. And it's okay to shake this. You can shake it and stir it, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's all mixed up. And like I said, I'm going to a much darker color than the original golden oak. I went with espresso. There, with the Rustoleum kit, you can get, there's a light kit and a dark kit. So the dark kit has easily a couple dozen different shades of darkness that you can mix. The light coat has several dozen versions of light, but I happen to have chosen the really dark one. Put that over there. And what you do is you just paint it on. And there's going to be 2 coats. So I'm just doing the first coat here. And anybody who has painted anything before knows to go with the grain. Try not to go across grain. And what you'll see is when you start painting this, the first coat doesn't really go on as you might expect, and it doesn't go on it doesn't cover as much as you might expect. So you're probably thinking to yourself as you paint the first coat, oh my God, what have I done? I don't know. I think I've gotten it over my head. This is going to look like crap. Don't worry. Just put a real nice thin coat on. Let it dry. And you'll see what I mean. But don't panic on the first coat. Promise, it'll look great. So this is day 2. I've got 2 layers of bond coat on this cabinet door, and I've looked it over pretty well, and I think I've gotten all of the little nooks and crannies, and I think I've got a pretty good coat on both sides. So this is day 2, so I've let this dry overnight, which is really important for this bond coat to be really dry before the next step, which is the glazing. So you might think that, hey, this door looks pretty good, let's just put it on the cabinet. Well, it didn't work that way. So definitely go through the glazing and the final 2 steps. Otherwise, you're not going to get the results that you want. So on to step 3, the glazing. So step 3 is the glaze that comes in the kit. You do not have to have this mixed at the at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you bought this from. It's already colored. It's pretty simple. You just paint it on, and then you grab a couple pieces of the cloth that comes with the kit, and then you just wipe it off. So here we go. And what I do is, in order to kind of save on the amount of glaze I use, I only glaze the outside of the cabinet. I didn't think that there was enough glaze, and I was correct to do the inside of the cabinet door. So, and nobody really sees that anyway. So I just paint the inside of the cabinet door, but I don't glaze it. So you just paint this on. Alright, now the glaze is put on, or painted on. Again, I just did the outside of the door. I did not do the inside of the door because there's really not enough glaze in the kit to glaze both sides. But anyway, you just paint it on, and then you just rub it off. And it really does make a big difference on the finished product. It makes it, you can't really tell with my video, but it makes my dark brown cabinets just look a little more rich and deeper, I guess, in color. And it really does make a big difference, so please don't. I wouldn't recommend skipping this step, even though the kit says that it's optional. I would definitely do it. And again, make sure your base coat is really dry before you do this. Otherwise, when you glaze it and rub it off, you'll just rub off sections of the base coat that you just painted on the day before. So, obviously rub or wipe this off going with the grain. And there you go. Okay, now that the glaze has dried, this is actually day 3. I probably could have done this last step late last night, but I had some other stuff to do, so I just let it dry overnight, which is always a good thing. And I'm just wiping it off here. So the last step is the protective top coat, which is kind of like a varnish. It's water-based. It doesn't really stink like a like a spirit-based varnish would, but it's important to stir this. You don't want to shake this because it gets air bubbles in it, and you'll get air bubbles all over your door. So make sure you stir it really well, and do not shake. And then we'll put the final step here. And I've got some tips for you on this one too. This one's kind of tricky. It dries pretty quickly, and what I have found is that when you're putting this on, make sure you do like real light, well, not light, but just a real even coat on everything. And what you'll notice is that it's white. So when you put it on, you're going to have, like in the corners and in the recesses of your cabinet door, there's going to be some little white buildup. And what I figured out pretty quickly is that you need to get rid of those little globs of white stuff, because this actually dries. It dries white, so you'll have some issues. You'll see little white globs after the door dries. So make sure you get like a real small brush, or make sure you get in there and you kind of get rid of the little white buildup. And then you just paint it on, just like every other step. One thing I didn't mention before, make sure you get a good paintbrush. The last thing you want to do is have to dig out horsehair or paintbrush bristles from your project. And there you go. So this top coat dries really quickly. So in about an hour, I'll be able to, maybe an hour and a half, I'll be able to flip it over and do the other side. Then I'll be ready to put the hinges on. We'll be done. All right, I've got both sides top coated. It dried really nicely. Nice clear finish. I don't have any of the little white globs that I was talking about in the corners, because I was able to get all of that stuff kind of wiped off before it dried. So got my hinges on, and I will put it on, then I'll give you some last tips on finishing your project. All right, got my last door up. So as you can see, it's kind of a lengthy process. If you have aspirations of doing this over a single weekend, your entire kitchen probably is not going to happen unless you can do 4 or 5 or 6 doors at a time, and then kind of space your work out. But it took me probably 2 weeks to do all of my cabinets and the island using basically all of my free time. There's a big open space right here. I actually ripped out the center cabinet, and I'm going to put in a big vent-a-hood, which I have not done yet, but that's why there's a big open space there. What I would recommend is, since you are repainting and refacing your cabinets, why not take advantage of the opportunity to add trim. For example, this piece was not there. I added trim. I painted the bottoms of the cabinets because when you're sitting down in the kitchen, you can see the bottom, so don't forget the bottoms. Of course, you got to do all of the, the cabinet itself. I didn't paint the inside. I just painted the trim and the inside and outside of the doors, the cabinet doors. But I know I'm going all over the place here. But what I would do is add trim where you can. Makes it look better. I even added trim up underneath. I added trim on the sides. I added, when I moved in, my wife and I moved in here about a year ago, and there was not even any floor molding along the cabinet. So I added floor molding around the island, around the back, and then I even added some trim just to kind of make the back of the island look better too. That was just a big empty space. So, just for a few extra bucks, you can make cheap cabinets actually look pretty good. So anyway, that's my project. Thanks for watching.